Oh, hello there. It's such a dreadful night tonight, isn't it? The wind whispers secrets through the rusty pipes, and the rain falls like tears on a cold, cobwebbed window. Yes, tonight we journey to Manchester, a place where shadows stretch long and hungry and whispers echo with forgotten tragedies. 5 tales we have for you, each one a rusty nail scraping against your spine. Are you brave enough to join me? Don't be afraid, come closer. Let the stories begin. Ah, Ordsall Hall, such a grand old place with its creaking floorboards and an air of mystery, and dusty portraits staring down from the walls, watching your every move. They say that walls have ears, but at Ordsall Hall, the walls whisper back, carrying the sorrowful sighs of Margaret Radcliffe. Poor heartbroken Margaret. She was a lady in waiting, you see, tending to Queen Elizabeth herself with utmost dedication. But Margaret, she yearned for a love the Queen could never offer, a love that was pure and true. And when that love was cruelly snatched away, well, it's said that Margaret's spirit refused to leave Ordsall Hall. She wanders the corridors now, a silken rustle in the silence, forever searching, searching for her lost love. Some say they've seen her, a fleeting glimpse of white silk gliding around a corner, her face always obscured, lost in the shadows. Others, they hear her mournful cries echoing through the empty halls at night, a haunting melody that chills them to the bone. Oh, but to catch a true glimpse of Margaret, to gaze upon her sorrowful face, they say it's an encounter that will leave you forever marked. I wonder, do you believe in such things? The lingering echoes of a heart's despair and unfulfilled love. They say that if you listen closely on the night of a full moon, when the veil between our world and the next is thinnest, you can hear Margaret's whispers. She speaks of lost love, of betrayal, and the icy grip of death that claimed her heart. Would you dare to spend a night within those ancient walls to feel the brush of cold air as Margaret passes by? Or would you, like me, prefer to simply listen to the wind whistling through the rusty pipes and imagine the spectral touch of a heartbroken ghost? Oh, the Manchester Cathedral, a place of peace, they call it. A sanctuary where the divine and the mortal realms intertwine, offering solace to the weary and hope to the faithful. A sanctuary of holy whispers and stained glass shimmering with celestial light. These windows with their vibrant hues tell stories of saints and martyrs, casting a divine glow that dances across the stone floors. But even within these hallowed halls, darkness finds its corners, and some whispers are best left unheard. Shadows linger in the recesses, where the light of the stained glass cannot reach, and the air grows thick with untold tales. For within these very walls, a priest, a man of God, met a most unholy end. His life, dedicated to the service of the divine, was cut short in a moment of brutal violence. Brutally murdered, they say, his life's blood staining the sacred stones. The very ground that once felt the gentle tread of his feet now bears the dark mark of his untimely demise. And now his spirit, unable to find peace, wanders the cathedral's echoing nave, a spectre forever bound to the place of his demise. His presence is a silent testament to the violence that shattered his earthly existence. Visitors speak of a chill that runs down their spines as they step inside, a sudden drop in temperature that whispers of an unseen presence. The air grows cold, and their breath becomes visible, as if the very atmosphere is haunted. Some claim to hear footsteps echoing through the empty nave late at night, slow, measured steps that cease abruptly at the foot of the altar. These phantom steps are said to be the restless pacing of the ghostly priest. Oh, but it is the chanting that truly chills the soul, a sound that rises from the depths of the night, filling the cathedral with a mournful melody. A low, mournful murmur, they say, as if the ghostly priest still performs his sacred duties, his voice a spectral echo in the darkness. The chants are a haunting reminder of the life he once led, now twisted by his tragic fate. Some say he searches for something, this ghostly cleric. His spectral form drifts through the cathedral, eyes ever watchful, seeking what was lost to him in life. Perhaps justice for his untimely end, or maybe forgiveness for the sins that bind him to this world. His restless spirit yearns for closure, a release from the chains of his past. They say the priest's ghost appears most often near the altar, where he drew his final breath, his spectral form shimmering like heat haze in the flickering candlelight. It is here, in this sacred space, that his presence is most strongly felt. Some believe he seeks solace in the presence of the divine, a chance to repent for sins both real and imagined. The altar, a place of communion with the divine, offers a glimmer of hope for his tormented soul, but others whisper that the priest is trapped, his soul bound to the cathedral by the weight of his own guilt. The shadows around the altar seem to hold him in a spectral embrace, preventing his release. Oh, the stories these ancient stones could tell if only we dared to listen. Each weathered surface holds a fragment of the past, a piece of the puzzle that is the cathedral's haunted history. But be warned, for some secrets are best left undisturbed, lest we awaken the echoes of a tormented soul. The cathedral, with its dark corners and shadowy recesses, is a place where the past and present collide, and where the restless dead may still walk among the living. The Palace Theatre, you know, grand, isn't it? Like a beautiful aging doll, the kind with button eyes that stare just a bit too long. But those boards, oh, they've seen it all, joy, sorrow, and things far stranger lurking in the wings. They say a phantom treads those boards, an actor lost in the spotlight's deadly embrace. He lingers still, you see, yearning for the applause that death denied him. Some nights when the theatre sleeps, you can almost hear it, a faint ghostly echo of 1,000 clapping hands. Or is it just the wind rattling through the rafters? Best not to think about it. Just let the chill run down your spine and pretend it's excitement for the show to come. Because in this theatre, the show never truly ends. Not while he walks the stage, forever caught between this world and the next. Trapped, like a fly in amber, preserved in a single horrifying moment. Chapter 5. The Wailing Woman of the Old Wellington Inn. Have you ever been to a pub, you know, one of those with dark corners and the smell of stale beer clinging to the velvet curtains? The kind of place where the air is thick with stories and the walls seem to hold secrets of their own. The Old Wellington Inn is just like that, a place steeped in history where every brick and beam seems to whisper tales of the past. It's the kind of place where shadows whisper secrets and every creak of the floorboards could be, well, something else entirely. The atmosphere is thick with an eerie presence, as if the very air is alive with the echoes of bygone days. Imagine, if you will, the clinking of glasses, the murmur of conversation, and then, cutting through it all, a wail. A sound so haunting it sends shivers down your spine and makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. That window, up there on the second floor, the one that seems to watch you as you pass by, that's where they say she was. Disposed of. Thrown out in a fit of rage, her life ending in a tragic fall. Who was she? Well, they called her Mary, a woman scorned, they say, a figure of sorrow and despair, her story etched into the very fabric of the inn. He did her wrong, you see. Left her with a broken heart and a babe in her arms, a cruel twist of fate that sealed her tragic end. Left her with a broken heart and a babe in her arms, a sorrowful sight, a mother abandoned, her dreams shattered. Now her cries echo through the halls, a mournful symphony for lost love and a life cut tragically short. The sound reverberates through the empty corridors, a haunting reminder of her presence. Her cries, they say, are enough to chill you to the bone, a sound so piercing it feels as though it could reach into your very soul. Some say it's just the wind whistling through the old building, but others, those who've lingered too long over their pints, they know the truth. They've felt the chill, heard the whispers, and seen the shadows move. The Old Wellington Inn holds a secret, a sorrow so deep it seeps from the very walls, a place where the past and present intertwine, creating an atmosphere thick with melancholy. There was this fellow, a writer, I believe, a man drawn to the inn by its dark allure, seeking inspiration from its haunted past. He came to the Old Wellington seeking inspiration, or perhaps a stiff drink, or maybe both. The inn's reputation had piqued his curiosity, and he hoped to capture its essence in his writing. He rented the room above the pub, the very same room where Mary breathed her last. A room steeped in sorrow, its walls bearing silent witness to her final moments. He sat there at the desk by the window, pen scratching on paper, trying to capture the essence of the inn's troubled spirit. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the very room was waiting for something to happen. The night deepened, shadows stretched like long skeletal fingers, and the silence was broken only by the rhythmic tap-tap-tap of the writer's pen. Then he heard it. A sound that made his blood run cold, a low, guttural moan swirling around him like smoke from a dying fire. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. It seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, closing in on him, suffocating him with its sorrow. The air grew heavy, and he felt an overwhelming sense of dread. He looked up from his work, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. His breath came in short, shallow gasps as he tried to make sense of what he was experiencing. And there, in the reflection of the window pane, he saw her, a figure so hauntingly beautiful, yet filled with an indescribable sadness. A woman in a white gown, her face obscured by shadow, her eyes burning with a cold, ethereal light. Her presence was both mesmerizing and terrifying. The pen slipped from his grasp, clattering to the floor, but the sound was lost in the cacophony of his own fear. His mind raced, trying to comprehend the impossible. He wanted to scream, to run, but his body refused to obey. He was paralyzed, trapped in a moment of pure terror. He was frozen in place, trapped in the gaze of the wailing woman. Her eyes seemed to pierce through him, seeing into the depths of his soul. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The apparition vanished, leaving the room in an eerie silence. The apparition vanished, leaving the writer trembling in the cold, oppressive darkness. He was left alone with his thoughts, the memory of her haunting gaze etched into his mind. They say the wailing woman still walks the halls of the old Wellington Inn, searching for something she lost, something she can never reclaim. Her presence is a constant reminder of the inn's tragic past. Some pity her, some fear her, but all who hear her tale are forever marked by the tragedy of her demise. Her story lingers in the minds of those who visit, a haunting reminder of love and loss. It's said that if you listen closely enough on a quiet night, when the wind whispers through the broken panes of the old inn, you can still hear her. Her mournful cries echo through the night, a chilling reminder of her tragic fate. Her mournful cries, a chilling reminder of a love betrayed and a life brutally cut short. The sound is both haunting and sorrowful, a testament to her enduring pain. The old Wellington Inn stands as a testament to her suffering, a place where the veil between this world and the next wears thin, a place where the past and present coexist, and the spirits of the departed linger. So, the next time you find yourself nursing a pint in a dimly lit pub, listen closely. You never know what whispers from the past might be swirling around you, waiting to be heard. You never know what whispers from the past might be swirling around you. The old Wellington Inn is a place where the past is never truly gone, and the echoes of history are always present, waiting to tell their tale. Chapter 6. The shadowy figure of the Manchester Royal Infirmary hospitals, eh? They're places of healing, or so they say. But what if I told you that within these walls, where hope is supposed to thrive, there are shadows that tell a different story? But even within those sterile walls, where hope flickers like a candle in the wind, there are shadows. Shadows that seem to have a life of their own, whispering secrets that no one dares to speak aloud. Deep, dark shadows that cling to the edges of your vision. They seem to move when you're not looking, always just out of sight, but never out of mind. The Manchester Royal Infirmary, now there's a place that's seen its fair share of sorrow. A place where the walls have absorbed the cries of the grieving and the whispers of the hopeful, the comings and goings of life, the desperate whispers of loved ones clinging to hope. It's a place where every corner has a story and not all of them have happy endings. And where there's sorrow, well, sometimes something else lingers, something that feeds off the despair and the pain, growing stronger in the darkness. Something dark and unseen, a chill that creeps up your spine and sends shivers down your bones. It's a feeling that you can't quite shake, no matter how hard you try. They say it's a figure shrouded in darkness, its edges blurring like smoke, a figure that seems to be made of the very shadows that haunt the halls. You catch a glimpse of it in the periphery, a fleeting movement just beyond the reach of the flickering fluorescent lights. It's there, and then it's not, leaving you questioning your own sanity. But when you turn to face it, to confront the fear that wraps its icy fingers around your heart, it's gone. Vanished into the darkness, leaving you with nothing but a lingering sense of dread. There was this doctor, a kind soul dedicated to his patients. He was the kind of person who would go the extra mile, always putting others before himself. He'd walk those halls at night, checking on those who needed him most, a beacon of comfort in the cold, sterile environment. His presence was a light in the darkness, a source of hope for those who were suffering. One night, as he made his rounds, he felt it, a presence, something that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end, a sudden drop in temperature, a tingling sensation at the back of his neck. It was as if the very air around him had turned to ice. He stopped, his heart quickening, and turned towards the feeling. His breath caught in his throat as he tried to make sense of what he was experiencing. There, at the end of the hallway, just beyond the pool of light cast by a flickering lamp, he saw it. A figure standing still, watching him. A shadowy figure, tall and imposing, its edges indistinct, as if formed from the very darkness itself. It seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, a darkness that was almost tangible. He should have turned back, should have run to the safety of the well-lit nurses' station. But he couldn't. Something held him in place, a force that he couldn't explain. But something compelled him forward, a morbid curiosity perhaps, or maybe a sense of duty to confront the unknown. He took a step, then another, each one heavier than the last. As he approached, the figure seemed to coalesce, taking on a more defined shape. It was as if the shadows themselves were coming to life, forming a being of pure darkness. He could have sworn he saw a pair of eyes, burning with a cold, malevolent light. Eyes that seemed to pierce through him, seeing into the very depths of his soul. The doctor, bless his heart, tried to rationalize it away. He told himself it was just a trick of the light, a figment of his imagination, a trick of the light, an overactive imagination. But deep down, he knew that what he had seen was real. But deep down, in the pit of his stomach, he knew. He knew that the Manchester Royal Infirmary harbored a secret, a darkness that whispered through the vents and lurked in the shadows. He knew that the Manchester Royal Infirmary harbored a secret, a darkness that whispered through the vents and lurked in the shadows. A darkness that seemed to be alive, feeding off the fear and despair of those within its walls. They say the figure is still there, roaming the halls, a harbinger of fear and despair. A presence that can be felt but not seen, always lurking just out of sight. Some say it's the spirit of a patient who died within those walls, his soul unable to find peace. A restless spirit, forever trapped in the place where he took his last breath. Others believe it's something more ancient, something wicked that feeds off the negative energy of the sick and dying. A malevolent force that has been there for centuries, growing stronger with each passing year. Whatever the truth may be, the Manchester Royal Infirmary remains a place of shadows and whispers, a place where the line between the living and the dead is blurred, and where the darkness seems to have a life of its own. So if you ever find yourself walking those halls alone at night, be careful. Keep your wits about you and don't let the shadows catch you off guard. You never know what might be lurking just beyond the reach of the light, and sometimes it's better not to find out. Chapter 7, Outro. Well, there you have it. 5 terrifying tales from the streets of Manchester. Stories whispered in hushed tones, passed down from generation to generation. Remember, these are just stories, figments of imagination perhaps. But then again, some things are best left unexplained. Did you enjoy those tales? I certainly enjoyed sharing them with you. If you're brave enough, give this video a like and tell me in the comments which story chilled you to the bone. And if you dare, subscribe for more spine-chilling journeys into the unknown. Until next time, sleep tight and try not to let the shadows bite.